Hello guys, this is the 7th chapter of video series ASP.NET Core Web API. So here you can see we have created the 6th chapter, and now we are going to create this class to modify this register class to save the data related to the profile into the database. So we will follow these steps. As the first step is we need to create database context, then we will create or modify the register class, and then we will add a dependency, then we will modify also the profile class which we had already created. Basically this class will create the database, not the database, actually the tables in the database. And then in the 5th point we will modify the controller, and at the 6th point we will add the migration and update the database with the new changes. Okay, so let's move to the first step, create database context. So as you know, in the earlier video series we have already done with creating the database context. So you can see here, this is our database context, identity DB context. So what we will do, we will not create any new database context, we will just reuse the same. So now we have the second step is we need to modify the register class. So let's move to the register class and right here you can see inside the model, so we have register class here. So right here we have already done adding the changes. Okay, so you can see these are the new fields from the last video series. So these are the new fields from address 1 to the country code. Okay, so these things we have added in the request of registration of any user, and also after this we need to follow the third point. Here we need to add the dependency. So where we will add this dependency, basically we will add it in the controller. So let's move to the controller, account controller, and here we will add the dependency. So here you can see we have already copied this line, private read only application DB context. So here it is, the DB context. And to add the dependency we also need to add here the same application DB context. Here at the 29th line you can see this is, and we have also given it a different name, application DB context here. And here at the line number 34 you can see we are assigning that application DB context into the database context. So basically here we are injecting the dependency. So the dependency we are injecting inside the constructor of the controller, account controller class. So here line number 26, from where dependency constructor is getting started from here. So now we can reuse database context object, this object throughout this controller wherever it will be required. So let's move to the next point. Now what we need to do, we need to modify the profile class. So I have done little change from the last video. First change is we have completely removed the database what we had created in earlier videos. Okay, so we will do create everything from scratch now in this video. And then what we will do, okay, so here you can see in the profile class we need to modify this profile class. So let's navigate to profile class here, and here in earlier videos we were having address class. So I have also removed that part because we were not required that part. Okay, so because we are already saving the address in this profile class, so we will reuse the same this class. Okay, so now here you can see in the profile class also we have already the code here, right? So you can see, and with this with these properties like ID, user ID, address 1, 2, city, state, and landmark. So we are also having here one foreign key relationship with the identity user table. Okay, so identity inside identity user, basically this table will be connected to the ASP.NET user table of the identity Microsoft identity models. So here in this class, profile class, we have defined a user ID type of string, so it will save the string data which will be created from identity server of Microsoft during the registration. We will discuss it just little bit later in this video. Okay, and here you can see we have added the front key annotation with the name of user ID. So it is basically indicating that the user ID in this class, in the profile class, will be connected to the identity user class. Okay, and in identity user class with their primary key, means that primary key which is available in the identity user class will be connected to the user ID in profile class. Okay, so let me navigate to the identity user class here. So you can see here we are having here as ID. Okay, so basically this ID is connected with the user ID in this profile class. Okay, so now let's move to the next point, which is point number 5. We need to navigate to the controller and we need to create an object of profile. So let's move to the controller class, and as you know, we are going to implement that profile part in the register. So here you can see we have in the register, here you can see here in the register admin. Okay, first we are finding here if we have passed any user email from the request parameter, then it will search through the database, and if it will not get in the user information inside our database, then it will let it move forward. And from here you can see we are creating the identity user, basically the user inside the database using the identity model. Okay, and from here we are adding, basically creating the role if it does not exist in the database, and from here we are adding the role of the created user. If user is like user role is passed as user from the request parameter, then it will create user type account, and otherwise it will assign it as an admin. Okay, and here you can see here is our code which we need to add, right? So this is basically the code. So here what I have done, here I have created the object of profile class here. Okay, and I have assigned the value what we are getting from the request. Okay, from the register model here. Okay, so here is the register model, and we are getting the data inside the register model from the body of request parameter from the postman. So here you can see now I have called this database context what we had just defined here. This is the database context. Okay, and don't forget to also use this as a dependency injection. We also need to create one define initialize here, and then need to assign the value of application like this db context object value into this. Okay, so and now we will use this database context basically to use to perform any task related to database. So here you can see we have called here add async and added the object here inside the add async, and the same thing is here the save async. Basically add async is not actually the updating the database. Here we are, so here you can see what it is doing. It is creating the entity, but it is not updating the database. So when we add it just added a state before saving the data, and to save the changes we need to call here this save changes async. And async is basically as you know, we have followed the complete asynchronous structure, therefore we have followed the same, kept the same flow. We can also use without it like without asynchronous, so that will not be do any effects like anything wrong with the functionality. Uh, okay, so now let's move to the next point. The last point is like add migration and update database. So now let's move to the add migration. Let me open the package manager console. So you can also open the package manager console from here, like by navigating to the tool and then navigate package manager here, and from here package manager console. Okay, so now we need to add migration. Then I am going to add migration. Okay, now hit enter. Now let me give it first. Okay, so it will build our project first. So you can see here build has started now. And now build succeeded. Okay, now it is created the migration class here, you can see. So it has defined everything here, the foreign key, primary key, and everything whatever we had defined. And now we need to update the database with the changes of migration. Okay, so to do that we will just use this command update database. So now it's again building the project, and then it will update the database with the tables. Okay, so you can see it's done. Now let me check the database. So let me refresh this. Okay, so here I have clicked on refresh. So you can see we have got our database web API, the new database, and inside it we are having the tables. So let it expand. Okay, so now you can see here we have all tables related to entity, and with one extra table profile that we had created. And once we will get here into the like into design. Okay, so we can see the detailed of each columns created by the migration. Okay, so let it load first. Okay, okay, it is taking I think too much time. Okay, let it take it, let's take it time. Okay, so here you can see now we got like we got the tables created here with all these fields by having their like by setting their data type as well as the limit of the data. So here we also need to check here the keys. So you can see here the primary key what we had defined as key in the class. In the profile class you can see by navigating we have defined id as a key, therefore id is given as the primary key, as well as foreign key is already assigned the auto generated name foreign key profile ASP.NET users with user id. That means profiles table is connected with the ASP.NET user table with the foreign key of user id inside the profile table. So you can see here the user id is basically connected with this table ASP.NET user table. Okay, inside this table this is the id, and this id is used as a foreign key here with the name of user id. So now let's navigate to the next. Okay, let me open the postman. So okay, so till that time let's have a look. of the database what it has created also in the like. Okay, so okay, we can also check here, like if we want to check the front key and the connected columns, so you can also check here, like by going to the relationship, by just let me show you again. By we need to right click on user ID, then need to go to relationships, and from here you can see this is our relationship, and here we can see the table and columns specification. So here you can see front key base table. The base table of front key is profile. Okay, and the front key column name is user ID in the base table, and in the same thing primary key unique table. Primary key or unique key base table is ASP.NET user table, and in that ASP.NET user table it is the ID which is given it, like which is given as a front key, means being used as a front key inside the profile table. So let me close this. Okay, now let's move to the postman here. Okay, so you can see here the postman is opened here. Now let me move to the body. Okay, so here what we had added extra field after the role, we had added address 1, 2, city, landmark, country code, pin and state. Let me double check the date. The same thing inside the register class, it is address 1, 2, city, state, landmark, pin and country code. So that's it. Okay, so now we will create the data. So let me put the breakpoint here so that we can check everything is working as expected. Okay, so here let me put the breakpoint here, and now let me also run this project. Okay, so let it start first. Okay, till then we can. Okay, now it's okay, the project is being started, so it is opening the Swagger UI. Okay, okay, so let it take the time. Okay, so now let's move here. Okay, so now Swagger is started. Okay, so now let's move to this. Okay, now let me also verify the port number what we have. So it is 44327 with localhost. Okay, and now let's me go to the postman here, also 44327 with localhost. Okay, so now let me click on send button. So once we clicked on send button, so here it will take our code to here. So you can see our code is here, like it is at the breakpoint. So now let me move forward by stepping over. Okay, so we have done one step over. So here you can see we have got all the data. Okay, so now we have also got the user ID what we had created from this field, user.id. Okay, and now let me move to the next statement by doing step over again and one more time to save the change in the database. And now from here we are returning the response with the status success and the message like user created successfully. So let me step over from everything. Okay, so now you can see we have got the success response with the status 200. Okay, and now it's time to check the database whether we have got the data into our database or not. So let me first go to the ASP.NET user class to check the user related data. Okay, so now let me click on select 1000 rows. So now you can see here we have got the data into our database. Okay, so also let me check the profile as well, whether we got the additional data, profile related data or not. So you can see here we have also got the data and also got the user ID, address to, city, state, landmark, pin and the country code. Okay, and also we got the auto incremented ID here. Now let me do create any other user also as a user type. So what I am doing, I am modifying it as the user, and here let me put it 1, also let me put it 1. So now let me again call this, let me hit the send button again. Okay, so you can see here we got hit at the breakpoint, and what we will do, we will now once again we can do step over, but we need not to do it always, because at the first time it was working very well. So let me now move to the postman by stepping over the code. So here you can see we all again got the success response by passing the user role as well. Okay, so now let me check the database. Okay, so here you can see we got one more data and having the different ID here, that means it is new user ID, and let me also use the same. So you can see also here we got the, and as you know we had passed a different role, therefore we need to check whether our role table got updated or not. Okay, so we can check that by navigating from here ASP.NET roles. So from here you can see we will have the two role, one role is related to admin and another is related to the user. So now in the ASP.NET user roles, here we can see the relation of the role. So let me go to this. So here you can see we have got this user ID ending with DB24 is connected to the role ID CC47, the ending with CC47. Okay, so in this here we can see this is the basically the profile table. Okay, let me close this, and here this is, so here you can see the first is admin, because we had, sorry, this one is admin Raj, okay, Rajan Kumar at yopmail.com. This one is admin, and here you can see it is ending with db24, and db24 is related to role ID cc47, and the cc47 role cc47 is the admin. Okay, so in the same way 216f is user, and 216f is connected to the second user 252f, and that 252f is the second user what we had created as with the user role. Okay, you can see also here the username is ending with 1 at yopmail.com, and the same is here also. So we are also getting the correct data into our database, and now everything is working very well. Okay, as expected. Okay, so that's all guys in this tutorial. Hope you guys have liked this. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching, and if you have any comments or queries, don't forget to ask in the comment section. I will be happy to help you if you got stuck anywhere. Okay, and if you are watching this video series, directly watching this video, then please do watch the earlier videos also, so that you can understand the complete process. Okay, thank you guys once again. Thanks.